From Eyewitness News, this is Newsmakers.
Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Tim White. Ted Nesi will join me on the second half. We are entering what could be an important weekend here in Rhode Island as the state gingerly steps foot into partial reopening with the governor's Phase 1 plan. Joining me now to talk more about what that means, particularly for businesses, is Rhode Island Commerce Secretary Stefan Pryor. He joins me live from the Rhode Island State House. Mr. Secretary, it's good to speak with you.
Good to be back with you, Tim.
Let's start with this Phase 1 plan. A lot of people are watching this program, Mr. Secretary, on a Sunday morning, so Phase 1 of reopening will have begun. Through your prism, what is the biggest thing people will notice?
Well, we're so pleased to be getting into this implementation of Phase 1. We call it testing the water because what the governor conceives is that we need to move step by step, incrementally and deliberately into this first phase. What people are going to notice is that, first of all, we already have certain businesses that are wide open and have been open through the crisis, though they've been mindful of the guidance from the Department of Health. Construction, manufacturing, some critical offices and other operations have been open all the way through. By the way, in the Northeast region, we're perhaps the only state that's had manufacturing and construction altogether open. Now what we start to see this weekend and going into this week, the smaller retailers that have had to be working under restrictions, only curbside and only delivery, some of our favorite stores, many of our favorite stores will be able to open. Now they'll be opening under capacity restrictions so that we keep ourselves safe and healthy. And they'll be implementing cleaning guidance and asking people to wear masks when they enter and keeping their social distance when they enter. So there'll be those kinds of precautions in place. As we move on, we will open up more businesses as well, Tim.
Let's touch on one of those businesses, and that is restaurants. And admittedly, that is a real tough one for the administration. The governor did allow this week for take-home cocktails, but you and I both know Manhattans to go are not going to pay the bills for many of these restaurants. Understanding the balance between health and business is extremely difficult. Is there any hope you can give restaurants in the near term? Is there anything around the corner, Mr. Secretary, for them?
Yes. There is. First of all, Tim, it's good to know you're a Manhattan's man. I'll keep that in mind. On the question of restaurants, yes, we are planning to permit restaurants to open for outdoor seating during this phase. Not on day one, Phase 1, so not this weekend, but I would expect that the governor will offer some news on this subject early in the week, this week, and that we will offer guidance to restaurants for opening something like the following week. So we'll be giving a week's notice, and there will likely be opportunities for restaurants to start opening for outdoor seating. Now, what does that mean? That means that restaurants that already have an outdoor patio, an outdoor section, an area that's next to the sidewalk or street and fenced off that they ordinarily use, they'll be able to reopen that section for dining. We'll offer specific guidance. This will be coming out likely next week. We'll offer specific guidance about keeping tables spread apart for everyone's safety, for wearing masks when you're not actually eating, for not having shared objects like condiment containers, like ketchup and mustard containers, not having those so multiple people touch them, not having shared menus but disposable menus. Common sense things that under the guidance of the Department of Health will be implemented to enable that, and we'll also be working with restaurant owners and with cities and towns to see whether even those restaurants that don't have an outdoor section can start to look at the parking lot that's adjacent to the restaurant or to nearby parks or even sidewalks and streets if they're closed and safe for the purpose of reopening. Now that will happen slowly. We're going to work with municipalities to make that happen with their approval, but we want to make sure we breathe more life into the restaurant economy. We all know that in Rhode Island, we like to go out to eat, We also know that we pride ourselves on being a state that is so skilled at the food arts. Restaurants are part of our culture. We've got to get them back.
All right, some news there on restaurants, and we'll be looking for more details, as you say, next week when the governor is likely to roll them out. Let's get to another business here, and as you know, Mr. Secretary, we've been doing this segment here on Channel 12 called 12 Responds, and a lot of people write into us with questions, and this one we are getting a lot, so I'm just going to pick one. Sarah in Bristol asks us, which phase do you anticipate hair salons will be allowed to reopen? And Mr. Secretary, I'm not going to hold you to an exact date here, but what is your best estimate for Sarah and others in her situation?
Sarah, thank you for the question. And Tim, I'm glad you raised it. We are eager to enable close contact businesses to get back to business, and we're prioritizing haircutters. Hair salons and barbershops, we're prioritizing them. We have a team working on it. We're consulting closely with shop owners, haircutters, and with industry associations, and with the health department. And what we're trying to do is in phase 2, which could be as soon as 2 weeks after we start phase 1, might be longer. It depends upon the governor and Dr. Alexander Scott's read on the health data and whether our trends are favorable. But in phase 2, which could be in just a couple more weeks, we'd like to start to introduce a checklist like we've done for retailers. Retailers, in order to reopen, have a very short checklist they have to go through on sanitation procedures and social distancing and how they're managing lines and making sure people are not crowded, keeping people safe. There's a checklist they produce and they post in their establishment. We're going to do the same for haircutters. It's different rules in this case. It's certainly social distancing, but it's also cutting and washing hair, but not blow drying because of the movement of material and potential pathogens as a result. It's the cape that you wear in a hair cutting salon or barbershop needs to be either disposable or sanitized every single time. It's the wearing of masks by both the hair cutter and the customer. It's no waiting room, it's appointment only. It's all the things that you need to do to make sure that it's safe in this close contact context. So we're getting those rules together, we're putting together a checklist, and we hope to be able to work during the latter portion of phase 1. So over the next couple weeks towards the latter end of that period to debut some of these rules that will go into a checklist to enable haircutters at some point in phase 2. It could be later into phase 2 to get going, and we'll have more to say on those particular dates, but now you have a sense for the broad time frames.
Okay, so that is a more helpful timeline, but of course all bets are off, right, Mr. Secretary? If we suddenly, after phase 1, 2 weeks from now, we see cases spike, we see hospitalization spike, then this entire timeline that you just laid out for Sarah and others, that all changes.
You're right, Tim, and it's important that we note this. Whether we succeed at reopening the economy relies upon everyone. It relies upon all of us. As the governor says, we all have to do our part. What that means is, let's not crowd the stores and try to bend or break the rules around occupancy inside a store. In a smaller shop, it's 1 or 2 or 3 people who fit in there at any one time along with the personnel. Let's be mindful of that. Let's not go to the office unless we absolutely have to. If you're an office-based business worker, or if you're a supervisor in such a business, don't go to the office if you don't need to, and supervisors don't require people to come in if they can do remote work just as well. We're all part of this, because proceeding incrementally and carefully and with discipline will mean that we can advance into reopening the economy even more.
To remind our viewers a little bit of a piece of your resume, you were president of the Lower Manhattan Development Corporation, which was formed after 9/11 to help rebuild Lower Manhattan. You were also education commissioner in Connecticut during Sandy Hook. What lessons, if any, are you pulling from those experiences and applying to the pandemic as Commerce Secretary?
Tim, those were episodes in my life that were extremely hard, and This one is enormously difficult, and there are parallels. There are significant differences about the kinds of losses, the kind of pain, the kind of trauma, but there are some commonalities, and let me focus on the positive commonalities. Even in the wake of tragedy and trauma, what I'm always very favorably astounded by is that human beings rally, work together to overcome it. And you know, in 9/11, I lived in Lower Manhattan. I worked on the rebuilding from the beginning and all the way through the first 5 years. And one of the things that stood out for me was how people from around the neighborhood, around the city, around the country, around the world were pouring in with offers of support and with the kind of support that you need to see in order to move forward under such traumatic circumstances. Similarly, for Newtown, Connecticut, in the wake of Sandy Hook, here what's astounding is the support from Rhode Islanders for our healthcare workers, for our supermarket workers, for the everyday Rhode Islanders who are, like in my neighborhood, telling their fellow neighbors, can I go to the supermarket for you? If you're up there in age, can I help you out? What do you need in terms of getting to your medicine? These kinds of simple individual acts of kindness in the collective are inspiring and get us through, and even while we're socially distanced, I feel like there's a coming together that's occurring in Rhode Island, and it's inspiring. And what I take away from these tragedies is they cannot stop our optimism and our forward movement and our humanity. And I know in this case, with this virus, at least we know that scientists are working on an eventual vaccine. At least we know exactly what we can do now. We can socially distance, we can wear our masks, we can take it step by step, we can abide the rules, and you know what? We will get through this.
Like with many disasters that you listed off, one of the major fallouts is the effect on the economy, and particularly the effect on, as we saw after 9/11, on the unemployment rate. And the unemployment rate in Rhode Island in April 2019 was 3.6%. That seems quaint now. It will be disastrous, I'm sure, when we hear what the April numbers will be in a couple of weeks. Final question for you, Mr. Secretary. I know it's looking into the magic 8 ball, but how quickly do you think Rhode Island can bounce back in terms of the unemployment rate based on how we flip the switch to shut off the economy?
You know, I'm optimistic about our chances. I'm not sure what the precise time frame will be, and no one can tell you that, but I am pleased with our starting point. As I mentioned earlier, we were the only, or perhaps one of the only, states that did not shut down construction or manufacturing partially or fully in our in our area. We are starting from a stronger point. We are propelling ourselves from that point. We are opening retail and prospectively opening restaurants for outdoor seating sooner than our neighbors. No one else has done that yet. Massachusetts hasn't done it yet. Connecticut hasn't done it yet. New York certainly has not done it yet. We're ahead of the curve. We're trying to stay one step ahead of the virus so we can remain ahead of our fellow states in bringing the economy back. We don't want to be the state that once again is first in, last out of a recession or whatever very severe downturn we are currently experiencing. So I'm confident that we are making the right moves under our governor and that we are taking the deliberate steps, the careful incremental steps that will let us stay ahead. And I do think that we will have a very good chance at helping to lead the national economy. Here's one other point for you, Tim. I am a believer in the assets of Rhode Island in helping the nation and the world move beyond this virus. What do I mean? We excel at design in Rhode Island with the Rhode Island School of Design, with engineering schools at URI and at Brown, and with all kinds of talent in design and engineering and architecture. We can help to design the touchless technologies, the surface technologies, the composite materials that will help us even if the virus is with us for a while longer. So I think Rhode Island has the ability to invest in industries to actually help not only our own economy, that's the first and foremost point, but the entire region and world get past this.
Rhode Island Commerce Secretary Stefan Pryor, it has been great to speak with you, and good luck as you move forward. When we come back, Ted Nesi will join me live from the State House to break down this week in news. Stay with us. You're watching Newsmakers. Welcome back to Newsmakers. I'm Tim White. Joining me now live from the State House, as we do every week, is Eyewitness News politics and business editor Ted Nesi. Ted, I'm just going to ask you this question live on the air because I don't know if you were able to actually hear Commerce Secretary Stefan Pryor in the first half of the show.
Yes, I could, yeah.
Okay, good. So it sounds like we had a little news out of restaurants from Commerce Secretary Pryor there that there could be some, sidewalk dining for restaurants that will be announced next week by the governor. And for the restaurant industry, this has been a tough needle for the administration to thread.
Yeah, it's really hard, right? I think, the restaurants are the type of place, by definition, they want to pack most restaurants, lots of people in. You've got food moving, you've got people moving about, you're in close quarters. We can all imagine that restaurant we go to where you're, right up against each other. And so to figure out a way to let them operate without having their dining rooms, their main function areas open is really hard. I think getting them some ability to do outdoor dining will be a positive step, I would assume, for some restaurants. But, for others, we've already heard from restaurants that say they don't really have a parking lot situation that they think would work for that. They're not sure how the setup is. So I would imagine restaurants listening are intrigued, and hopefully some of them feel hopeful about it, but I'm sure they're going to want to see the guidelines to know how much it's really going to help.
Yeah, I'm not sure how equitable that the plan's going to be in terms of all restaurants, because not everyone can take advantage of it. But again, that's another aspect of this being a tough needle to thread. And we're talking on a Friday, Ted, a lot of people watching on a Sunday, potentially a big weekend here in Rhode Island. The state is gingerly approaching partial reopening with the governor's phase 1. But also, I believe today, from a policy standpoint, the state revenue estimates are to come out, and those are sure to be awful. And that would really jumpstart the budget process, right? Or move it to the forefront from the General Assembly's point of view. It feels like next week could be very different for the governor. Am I wrong about that?
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think this weekend feels like a pivot point to me in this crisis. I think, as you said, we have the governor going into phase 1 of reopening. The stay-at-home order is ending. She's also said she's going to go from 7 days a week of coronavirus briefings to 5, which is still a lot, but it means she doesn't feel she needs to do them on weekends anymore and can kind of give the public a rest on the weekends too. To me, that's just another sign that the most acute phase of the crisis is fading, and we're moving into, as she sometimes called it, the new normal. And what is that going to look like? The other thing is, as you say, with the revenue estimates that are expected, we're taping on Friday at the end of the day today, that's really the starting gun for budget negotiations. And that's true every year. It's especially true this year because the revenue estimates are going to be so different and presumably so bad. That also means that's the sign of the General Assembly kind of, re-emerging. There hasn't been a lot of activity from the General Assembly, and they've had no formal sessions since all this started. The House Finance Committee is expected to start meeting again next week to review the budget, to start to figure out what to do next. I think in a way you're going to see the governor's kind of been at center stage on her own for 2 months now, right? Making the big calls, running the response to coronavirus in Rhode Island, spending money, all of that. And now I think you're going to see it get a little more like normal, where she is arguably the central figure as the leader of the state a lot of the time, but the legislative leaders have a big say too and have a lot of impact there. So I think we're going to start to feel out how that works when you're still in a crisis, but maybe not the same level of acute crisis that we were.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on this one, Ted, but you brought up the governor's her daily briefings, and they're going to go down to 5 days a week. People are going to see in the coming days a change with those briefings, and I bring it up to you because you are our politics editor, so you've been Channel 12's point person when it comes to dealing with the governor's press people on these briefings. How are they going to change? What are people briefly going to see at home that looks different?
Yeah, look, first and foremost, I want to say to folks at home, reporters want to be in the room. Don't ever misunderstand us. We want to be asking people directly, even with Newsmakers right now. Tim would prefer if he was sitting across from Stefan Pryor, not remote. But on the other hand, the health department has had pretty strict guidelines about having people together, and most press conferences historically, we're all pretty close together, and it can be hard to get much space between each other. So it's been an ongoing back and forth. We did get the conference calls added, so every day after the TV briefing, we reporters, all of us, can join a conference call and pose questions live directly to get clarifications. But next week, with the stay-at-home order lifting, with some return to normal, I believe we're going to see it move to a bigger venue. My presumption is it's going to be the Veterans Memorial Auditorium, because that's right here on Smith Hill. And you'll see the reporters have some ability to have a microphone and line up and ask their questions to the governor in the press conference. But it's tricky, because the other thing is, usually with briefings with the governor and press conferences, they're very rarely televised in full like they are currently, right? So we ask our questions and then you see the report on the news that night. We have to find ways to make sure that the people at home can hear the questions and everything else. So hopefully we're moving into a new direction on that. And obviously you and I, Tim, have spent some time ourselves researching how the other states are handling it to try to make our case.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts with that one, and thank you for your work there. Let's change gears a little bit. We are 1 month away from our debate, believe it or not, between Senator Ed Markey and Congressman Joe Kennedy. That is going to take place here in our studios at Channel 12 in East Providence. We were going to host it, or UMass Dartmouth, I should say, was going to host it, but obviously we can't do that anymore. But there is some news on that race. You were telling me before the show there were 2 new polls out this week, and they have 2 very different stories.
Yeah, and I want to thank UMass Dartmouth for being so understanding. They're a great partner, and we're disappointed we're not going to be there, but for both sides that we've got to be careful with social distancing. Yeah, 2 polls came out this week with very different results. One of them had Joe Kennedy up by 2 points. One of them had Joe Kennedy up by, I think it was something like 15, 14, or 12 points. It was double digits. Polls, you have to be careful with polls. I haven't had time to look closely at, why they were so varying. But I think, in general, all the polling has suggested the same thing. A small advantage for Joe Kennedy, because I do think that was a little high, that higher poll. But certainly Ed Markey's still very much in the hunt as the incumbent. Now, what's weird is that we're talking about the incumbent United States Senator who's been in Congress for 4 decades as the underdog in this race. But when you're running against a Kennedy in Massachusetts who's also raising more money, obviously the picture gets clearer. So I think, all politics in the country, the 4th district race in Mass to replace Kennedy, the General Assembly races that we're expecting to come up here in Rhode Island, the presidential, they're all being affected by coronavirus. Everyone's campaign plans have gone out the window. Even getting attention is getting harder. But I do think, again, as we talked about with Rhode Island's reopening, I think it's the same with politics. You're going to start to see a little more toes dipping into the water to try to get some more normal campaigning. And I think debates, even stripped down, 6 feet apart debates like we're going to have, are still a step toward normalcy for voters, because voters still have to make their decisions.
Yeah, well, but the campaign is going to be so different through the summer than any campaign we've seen because of the social distancing, even if there's partial reopenings and all that. Does that mean the campaign with the largest war chest might do better because they can buy more television ads and reach more people, as opposed to the sort of grassroots kind of campaigning that would normally happen?
Yeah, it's funny, Tim. One of the last in-person interviews I did before we went into full-on lockdown was with Joe Kennedy. Yeah, he came to Channel 12 at the beginning of all this, and he said how weird it is to campaign and to not be able to shake hands, give hugs, do fist bumps, and Senator Markey would say the same, I think. I think resources are going to matter a lot. It's the same as we're seeing in the economy right now. The companies that have deep enough pockets to spend some money on technology, Zoom and getting equipment for their people to work out in the field, are able to weather this a little more. I think you could see the same thing there. But on the other hand, because we've never done an election under these circumstances, I'm hesitant to make too bold of a prediction of what it means. Maybe with so many people at home, if one campaign has a better grassroots set of support and those people are at home able to do postcards and more phone calls than usual and everything, maybe that's an advantage. So I think you'd always rather have more money than less in an election. I think most campaigns would say that's the case. But I do think we just don't know how campaigning works in a time of a pandemic like this. We have to look back to 1918, the midterms that year, to figure that out. So, and things were a little different then.
All right, we have about a minute left, and just going back to my interview with Commerce Secretary Pryor, it seemed to me, we've been talking a lot about phase one, understandably, because it's this weekend, but boy, it feels like phase two could be far more significant or tangible to people.
Yeah, I mean, the more you hear about phase one of reopening, the more I think it's partly psychological, even more maybe than policy changes, right? I mean, there are changes. Retailers able to operate a little bit more, a little more flexibility for restaurants coming down the pike, a little more, you don't have to stay at home, even though you still can't have big social gatherings. But most things are going to be very similar. It's phase two when they want to try to open things like gyms, which anyone who's ever been to a gym knows that could be a place you can imagine transmission happening, and all of that. That's when I think there's going to be more maybe of a balance to be struck. And really what we have to watch is 2 weeks from now, 2 weeks from reopening, what do the case numbers look like? What do the hospitalization numbers look like? What do the death numbers look like?
All right, Eyewitness News politics and business editor Ted Nesi, thank you very much for joining us. And I want to thank you for watching this week, and we'll see you all next week right here on Newsmakers.